All right. Appreciate your patience. We will get things kicked off here. Good. All right, my teammate Kelly is going to be monitoring the chat box. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to enter your questions in there. While I'm thinking of it, if you could give me a feel for what kind of payment range. If most of the people that I work with are renting, give me a feel for what you're paying in rent payments right now. It's just when I think it can't go any higher, the rental market is still in a glut right now, and there's just not a lot of rentals out there. And as a result, I'm finding that the average two-bedroom apartments have just surpassed $1,350 a month in the Detroit metropolitan area. Okay, 2,200. Currently a homeowner. Okay, iPhone, got it. So great. Okay, well, I certainly appreciate you sharing that with me. And like you said, oh, here's somebody on Section 8, and it's a little over 900. There are several people that I'm working with right now on Section 8. There's actually programs available to purchase a home with a Section 8 voucher, depending upon which housing commission you're in. So, but let's get things kicked off here in the interest of time. I always like to be respectful of your time and try to keep this presentation under an hour. Now, when it comes to the question and answers at the end, I'm here for the duration. So I'll be here as long as you have questions. So my promises to you this evening, there's no sales pitch here. I'm not here to sell you anything. I am 100% here to give you educational content, I should say, and hopefully the confidence that you can actually purchase a home using the down payment assistance programs and grants that I'm going to make available to you this evening with as little as a couple $1,000s out of pocket. I do it all day, every day. There's plenty of programs out there. I'm going to give you a lot of success stories tonight, too, of people that have recently closed within the last 30 days, tapping into as much money as I've ever seen. So, like I said, no sales pitch here. We're going to go over at least 5 programs that can help you become a homeowner today with as little as a couple $1,000s out of pocket. I'm also going to give you access to my calendar so you can schedule a time for a free strategy call. And that strategy call can cover everything from A to Z, okay? Whether you just need to be connected to the programs, need to know how much out of pocket to get there. Heck, I do a lot of coaching on the credit standpoint. So I find that the biggest hurdles that hold people back from purchasing a home are down payment and credit. Well, I'm here to tell you, do not let those things hold you back. Never let money hold you back. I can always find the money. It's the credit that sometimes trips people up, and I've got a pretty good plan for getting people's credit flipped around that I've used on myself, and I'll share that with you in a little bit. I actually do a webinar this Saturday, 10 a.m., how to get your credit score up 60 points in 60 days. So I'll be sharing a link with that for the people that hang on to the end. So I'm also going to give you access to, like I said, this free strategy call and create a custom blueprint for you to get into homeownership. And I promise you, if you follow my steps, whether it's a couple weeks or a couple of years, you can get there, regardless of where your credit is today. So the first person that I want to share with you, which is just a success story, I tend to pop these in throughout my webinar. Now, this lady, Emily, this has to be one of my absolutely favorite success stories, and she just closed a couple weeks ago. Emily purchased a home using 3 different grants. One was a 3% gift program. Another one was a $5,500 grant, and a third one was a $25,000 grant. So she was able to purchase this home for $117,800. She needed a $500 deposit when we made the offer and only needed $200 at closing. So She only needed $700 to pull this off. And I can't see here, but it looks like she actually ended up, I think it was like $34,000 in that area. I can't read the bottom of it. 33,134 in grants. So that grants are free money. She gets to keep it the day of closing. And my gosh, I think her payments were, I think, $800 a month. So solid brick ranch. What you don't see here, fireplace in the living room, very nice finished basement, one of the driest basements I've ever seen in the city. But I was very, very happy for her because she was on a fixed income and home ownership was something that she never thought she could do. So Emily is one of my favorites. She hung in there when other people would have possibly tossed in the towel. She hung in there because the 25 grant money was kind of a pain to get this time around. So, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. But she ended up getting the 34,000, so a lot of money. So, who is tonight designed for? Well, this webinar is designed for people that are tired of renting, tired of periodic rental increases. I'm seeing rents increasing at a rate that is just unprecedented. People that are getting rent increases of hundreds of dollars a month. People that are tired of landlords not doing repairs, or what we would even call slumlords, or just the questions and the uncertainty of what's your rent going to be when renewal time comes around, and will your landlord even renew it? And I get some people that are just tired of paying off their landlord's mortgage. Either way, these programs will work for you. They'll help you take control of your housing. And I always tell people it's nice 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road when you look at the amount of equity that you can build in creating some wealth. And I just had a lady that I spoke with yesterday, and it was very inspirational. I was talking to her about what her hot buttons were, because she was actually only paying, I think, $900 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. And she has 2 teenagers at home. And what was really inspirational about that, because it never dawned on me why she was doing this. And she was like, I'm not doing it for myself. I could live in this 2-bedroom apartment and be just fine. But I want to show my kids that there is more to it, that by me working hard for X amount of years, that I can actually own a home. So that next generation lift or lesson to teach, that to me was very inspirational. So it's amazing how many different ways there is to motivate me and how others get motivated too. So here is oops, sorry to bounce around here. My computer is a little choppy here right now. Okay. Is my sound coming in any better now? Because I've got it looks like I'm getting a choppy connection here. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, Jennifer. So this next person I want to share with you is Daniel. Now, Daniel's actually purchased this home from his mother's estate. She unfortunately passed away, and he has a couple of sisters, and he was able to buy this home from the estate using a $25,000 grant program available through the city of Detroit. He purchased the house for $150,000. He needed absolutely no money, no closing costs, no earnest money deposit. I think he had to pay $500 for the appraisal, but outside of that, that was it. He was able to take advantage of the full $25,000. Okay. Next one, my goal for this evening. Okay. My goal for this evening is to give you the confidence by the way of giving you knowledge. So you'll schedule that strategy call with me. Whether you feel like you can do something in 2 weeks, 2 months, heck, it may, 2 years. I've had people I've been working with for over 2 years to get them where they need to be. Maybe it's maybe they had a disruption in their job, layoffs, credit, you name it. I deal with all of it. I'm familiar with all of it. And rebuilding credit is something that I actually enjoy doing and coaching people on, especially with all the misinformation that's out there in the credit building world and credit repair world. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and there are a lot of people that end up spending a lot more money than they need to. You don't need to sign up. Well, let's put it this way. It's rare when people have to sign up for a credit restoration course or help. Most of the tools that I give people on my Saturday webinar, you can do a lot of this lifting yourselves, save the money, and you'll always have me as a coach. So hopefully we're going to give you that knowledge where you're going to be comfortable, where you're going to schedule that call. We're also going to dispel some rumors today that you need money. Number one, you don't need money, okay? If you're going to go rent, you're probably going to need a couple of $1,000s. So I always tell people, plan on having at least a couple of $1,000 and you can buy a house. You don't need to have good credit. Some of the programs we're going to talk about tonight will do credit scores down to 580. And if your credit scores are lower than that, go to my credit restoration webinars. That's titled 60 Points in 60 Days. We'll get your score up. Not that big of a deal. And people that are on fixed income can't qualify. There are a lot of houses out there that can qualify for people with fixed incomes. So please take me up on it. I'm happy to show you how I routinely help people get past these hurdles and obtain home ownership. The biggest, my asks from you and what I look for is help build my community, okay? So in a few minutes, I'll put up my Facebook page and my YouTube page and just try to share those links. And when you get a moment, just go out there and join those communities. You don't even have to chat it up. Just follow me on Facebook, follow me on YouTube, and you'll get all the updates anytime myself or one of my teammates posts some content, okay? Here's another example of one of the people that we were able to help out recently. Here's Tashiana. She bought this house actually on Rosemont, just in the Plymouth Road area. She was able to tap into the $25,000. She purchased this house for $123,000. She only needed a $500 deposit when we made the contract, and at closing, she only needed $1,000. We were able to take $20,000 of her down of the 25 and use that as a down payment. And then $5,000 took care of her closing costs, and she was in. I think her payments on this were in the $950 area. So solid brick colonial. It's actually, this house was nicer on the inside than even the outside, just for the fact that it had granite countertops, the kitchen was redone, basement was dry, and it has a 2-car garage in the back. So, so very, very happy for her on this house. All right. Next thing, for those of you that can hang around to the end, there are going to be 3 bonuses. First bonus, I'm going to give you additional programs that are available on a municipal level. So if you're looking for grant money that doesn't have to be repaid on a municipal level, I think right now Wayne County has about probably almost 30 cities that'll qualify up to $14,000. Livonia's got a grant for $15,000, and Lincoln Park is at 75 or 10,000. I can't remember. A lot of those communities have money available, and happy to connect you with them. I'll give you a link to that towards the end, and then I'll also give you a link to my credit repair webinar. And right now, I've got one house, which is my pick of the day right now. This is one in Warren. $115,000, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, $1,500 out of pocket. That's $1,000 a month payment with a 2-car garage, newer roof. This house somebody can get into very inexpensively. You'll only need a 600 credit score, okay? We just reduced this one down to $115,000. Solid house in Warren. Any interest, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Always happy to schedule a time to get you in there. Now, A lot of people ask, who is this John Collins and why does he do this? So, boy, this whole down payment assistance and grant program uh, des- desire that I had to help as many people as I possibly can, this surfaced for me about 10 years ago. So, about 10 years ago, when my wife and I were rebounding from a couple of businesses that had collapsed, I had to spend 2 years rebuilding my credit in a new job, and I qualified for a down payment assistance program. Went to the lender, got approved, got all the way to closing, and at the just before closing, I asked them, "Hey, what happened to the down payment assistance program?" Well, you didn't need it. You had money in a retirement account that you pulled money out of. You didn't even need it. Very few things irk me as surprises like that. That I actually took that as a calling. And that's what inspired me to get back into real estate just a few years ago. Now, when I did that, it was certainly a lot different market than it is today. But back then, oh my gosh, I used to run these ads on Craigslist and Marketplace, and I would just sit here just trading time for people all day long, educating them one by one. It wasn't until about 2 years ago that I started doing these webinars, and I am so thankful that we spent the time and effort to do this. Because, for example, this webinar tonight, we had about 400 people sign up, and I don't know if you can see it, but we're approaching 100 people on this webinar right now. I think right now it's showing me we have 92 people online, and I can't thank you enough for attending and your time. Your time is very, very precious to me. But in order for me to really give you a glimpse of what motivates me and how I learned to do all this, I'm going to give you a little story of my business life and what brought me to this point. So before that meltdown, okay, 10 years ago, when my family and I had a huge, setback, it was all brought on by a collapse of two different companies. It was actually in the mortgage business for, oh gosh, since the early 90s, and did quite well. I was always that guy kind of chasing dollars for deals, for lack of better words, thinking that being on the top guy on the leaderboard was just my ticket to success. And after a while, you realize that that just really wasn't it for me. So I decided to go, hey, maybe I should own a mortgage company. And maybe that'll help me. Maybe that'll make me feel better about success or define success in my own mind. So I opened up a mortgage company with another gentleman, and we had a good time. We had a great run. We were able to provide a lot of service to people. But after that, we actually had a gentleman follow us to maybe scale things a little bit higher. And he actually said, why don't we go into the title insurance business? Well, sounded great. And actually, it was probably, from a business standpoint, one of the most lucrative industries I think I've ever been in. Really enjoyed it until one day back in, I think it was probably about 2008. And I was actually down in the title company. Okay, everything in my life is going well, thinking that financially this is great. It's from a success and status standpoint, this is great. And then somebody in the dispersing department, as I was picking up some closing files, shows me a check and asks me, hey, when did we open an account with a new bank? And I was like, well, we've got a lot of joint ventures with different law firms and things like that, because we were doing a lot of foreclosure work back then. Lo and behold, it was really the start of what was going to be an absolute nightmare. So that check turned out that the bookkeeper that we'd employed was embezzling money. And about $3 million later, we realized what the heck was going on. It was an absolute nightmare, legally, financially, you name it, mentally. Oh my gosh, what a setback. So it was some very, very crushing and humbling blows. So I can't even describe. Even to this day, I never thought I'd be able to talk about it in front of the masses, but that's what I'm doing today. So to kind of give you a feel uh, for me, I thought it was the worst thing, and actually it isn't because it brings me here today. It was a very painful 2 years, and there was a lot of life lessons to be learned there with regards to trusting people and have people take advantage of that. But just the same, um, that person was actually convicted, sentenced to federal prison, and as fate would have it, the day that he was supposed to go into prison, he committed suicide. And that's when it actually, everything just came to a screeching halt because the FBI was like, hey, he's gone. We're not tracking the money anymore. We tracked it down to, I guess he had bought stuff in South America and was hiding things down there for his family. But that's when the FBI said, that's it, we're done, we're not doing any more. And my partners in my financial resources and tolerances was done. So that was the end of that story. But great run. Um, I was just at that point in time extremely thankful that I still had that mortgage company to fall back on, or at least I thought for a year. So back in the mortgage business, things are going fairly well. I say fairly well because it was those 2000, the years of about 2011 or 12 were challenging to say the least. Then one day I get a call from my wife. She tells me, "Hey, what's up with the Chase? The money seems to be there doesn't seem to be any money in our checking or savings account." Well, as fate would have it, Chase decided one day to close every single lender credit line in the mortgage industry. So if you had a credit line with Chase and you were in the mortgage business, bam, they shut it down. So we had what was called a credit line and a warehouse line that we funded our loans through. No notice, no nothing, they shut it all down. And when they shut it down, they grabbed everything in my personal accounts. Now, if there's anything that I can pay forward here and I'd like people to learn from is if you ever sign any documentation for a car loan, any type of loan, and you have your personal banking accounts there, there's always fine print that whether you like it or not, they can dive in there and start taking money. So, and they'll ask questions later. Fortunately, my business was never late on that, any of those lines of credit. So we were able to quickly insert an attorney and I was able to get the money back. Once I got my personal money back, obviously I took that money right out of Chase and we quickly filed for bankruptcy. It was a very, very, very humbling time in my life, to say the least, especially right after a debacle that I just went through with somebody embezzling money with the title company. So now here I am, married, wonderful wife, 4 kids, uh, no income coming in, a terrible distaste for the mortgage industry and the title industry, actually real estate as a whole. So I just took off and I said, you know what, that's it. I need to check out of this. I'm going to go to the auto finance world. I'm real good with numbers. So that's where I went. And you know what? It was nice learning, but to be that guy in those finance rooms in the auto dealerships selling you things that in most cases don't have much value, trying to sell you service contracts and extended warranties. And don't get me wrong, sometimes there's value there, but the vast majority, no. So if you're ever in one of those chairs, always be suspicious because those cats tend to stuff things in there, and it's just something that really did not sit well with me. But what it did do is it gave me some time to rebuild my credit. So I went from a bankruptcy and a foreclosure to getting my credit scores well into the 700s within about 18 months after a bankruptcy. So it can be done. So a bankruptcy actually is very easy to get a quick spike in your credit scores. So if you have that much baggage, I'm familiar with it. I know how to deal with it. If you don't have that much baggage, so much easier. That's why I do these credit repair seminars. It's not rocket science. So anyways, the nice thing was after paying my dues there for 2 to 3 years, we were able to buy a house. And that's when I thought, okay, I should be able to tap into these down payment assistance programs and grants. And like I said, the loan officer said, you just didn't need it. And like I said, no one likes to be told what they do or don't need. That money, I fit all the boxes. I felt like I deserved it. But truth be told, I probably wouldn't be here today if he didn't do that. If he gave me that, I probably just would have went some other way. But his actions motivated me to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get back into real estate. I'm going to just teach people one by one about these different down payment assistance programs and grants. And that's who we are. I mean, 10 years later, it still bugs me a little bit, but I guess I need to look at it as it was a gift. So that's me. That's John Collins. That's who I am. My story, a little bit unusual. Most people will probably be surprised by it. A lot of people think I come across as the guy that never had this type of stuff happen to him, but we've all got our crosses to bear in this world. So I'd like to think I paid my dues on that side and won't make that mistake again. The great news is that I found this life that I have now where I'm able to go out and teach people about these different down payment assistance programs and grants and show them how to get into them and connect you with the lenders and get to basically show people how to get into houses by the way of products that a lot of people hear about. It's just that no one ever really gives you a good blueprint or plan to get there. So please, take me up on this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put this in the chat room right now. This is a link to my calendar. Okay. Let's go here. And all right, here's a link to my calendar right there. Go ahead, schedule a call with me. Click that link, book a call. I'll call you on that time. Now, during that call, I'm going to start asking you a lot of questions. And so questions like, hey, how many people do you have in your household? What areas are you looking in? And those are two key questions to determine what program is going to be the best fit. The next ones are, hey, what's your income like? What's your credit like? And regardless of where your credit is, let me know. We got to start somewhere. Like I said, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, it really doesn't matter to me. I've got people that I've been coaching for well over 2 years. Actually, I see one person on our webinar. I recognize a name from 3-4 years ago. So I'm here for the duration, and more importantly, I'm here to help. So now, in addition to the link for that, I'm going to give you a link to my Facebook page. Whoops, you know what? I just made a mistake. I actually just gave you the link to my credit repair webinar. Anybody that's interested in my credit repair webinar, I just gave that to you a little bit early. So that's credit.nodowntpaymentrequired.home. So anyways, let me get that Facebook one for you. Okay. And where is the YouTube? Okay. Sorry, I've got a lot of links here. Okay, and here is a link to my YouTube page. If you could please do me a favor, all I ask is if you could go and follow me on those two platforms, it would really help the algorithms for me. And if there's any video content that you see out there, please give me a thumbs up on it. Certainly appreciate it. So now, with everything that I've given you so far, I want to jump right into the top 5 programs that is out there. Somebody's asking a question right now. What's the cost of each webinar? Now, that's a great question, and I appreciate that. I don't charge anything for my webinars, okay? Basically, how I make my money is I'm a realtor. My job and my mission is to learn your situation, get you pre-approved for the down payment assistance program or grants, and then I'm going to put some quality houses on your radar. And my team and I are going to make sure you get into a house on one of these programs with the amount of money out of pocket that we quote you. So when I tell people 2,000 out of pocket, I mean it. Okay. If we need to sharpen the pencil that much, we'll do it. Okay. I just need to know what your budget is. Okay. So with that being said, here are the top 5 programs that are currently available for people. There's actually a lot more than this, but these are the ones that I'm having the most success with. Coming in at number 5 is actually MSHDA. MSHDA has a new program. It's a $25,000 down payment assistance program for first-generation home buyers. That's a mouthful, but it's a new program where they will give you free use of $25,000 to buy a house. Now, what is a first-generation home buyer? A first-generation home buyer is a person whose parents have not owned a home or don't currently own a home, or I shouldn't say haven't owned a home in the last 3 years. So if your parents are deceased, because I mean, I'm 60 years old. I run into a lot of people that are my age that are looking to buy houses on a lot of these down payment assistance programs and grants. So if your parents are deceased, you'll qualify. Okay. If as long as they don't have anything, if they're alive and don't have anything titled in their name for the past 3 years, you're going to be a winner on this program. Now, this program will allow you to use that $25,000 100% for your down payment, and whatever's left over can be used for your closing costs. There are some income restrictions. They're very generous. As long as your income's below 100,000, you're usually good. If it's above 100,000, depends on your household size. The house has to be in the state of Michigan. Your credit scores do have to be decent. They have to be 640 or higher on this one. They do target, there is a change coming on, and this is right now as the maximum loan limits are 224,000, but as of May, it's going to go up to 510,000. Now, if one of your parents happen to own a property, then there's a $10,000 down payment assistance program available through MSHDA. Okay. This is free use of the state's money. You never make a payment on it. You never pay any interest on it. But when you sell the house, they're going to want that money back. Okay. So great way to buy a house. This one is what I consider almost the gold standard. This program's been around there. I got my real estate license back in I think it was 87. And this program was out back then. Back then, they were only giving 2,500. So now, yes. So is everybody seeing the MSHDA screen? Yes. Okay, good. Thank you for asking. Just want to make sure. All right. Next one, number 4 on my list. Rural development. So any of you people that are living in what we may consider a rural area, okay? Now, rural area, if you're in the Detroit metropolitan area, Oakland County, you tend to be west of Milford, west of South Lyon, Oakland County, boy, you really got to go way north of Rochester to qualify for this. Macomb County, way north of 59. Wayne County, actually, there's a pocket that's southwest of Metro Airport that does well, and south of the airport could possibly fit. South of Belleville, Sumter Township, those areas qualify. A lot of Monroe, Livingston County, Burton. I saw somebody earlier saying Burton. There's areas of Burton I think that do qualify, but not all of it. Gaylord. almost all of Gaylord qualifies for the rural development. So the MISHTA program that I just spoke about a moment ago, that program's throughout the state of Michigan. Rural development is only in areas that doesn't have a high population density. So it has to be a somewhat of a remote area. The nice thing about rural development, no money down, no first-time home buyer restrictions. It's very lenient on credit. I'm getting credit scores down to 580 approved on rural development right now. Income restrictions are very generous, well over 100,000, and the loan limits are up to almost $420,000 right now. So great way to buy a house in some of those rural communities. Next one, number 3 on my list. Oh, sorry, my computer, I think my internet connection is quite choppy. So am I coming through quite well for people? Genesee County, great county for rural development. Number 3 on my list, it's a relatively new program that just came out through PRMI Power DPA program. Now, this program actually gives a second mortgage as a down payment assistance. They'll give you 3.5% of the purchase price that can be used as your down payment. There's no interest charged on it, no monthly payments, and it's forgivable after 3 years. So as long as you make your first mortgage payments on time for 3 years, they're going to forgive that 3.5% down payment assistance loan is what they call it. There is a minimum credit score of 600. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer. There's no income restrictions and no area restrictions. The other nice thing is you can use it on 1 to 2 unit properties. So if you're on a fixed income and you're looking for some rental income, buying a 2-unit, renting half out, it's a nice way to go about it. Excuse me. All right. Number 2 on my list. Okay. Okay. First State Bank. First State Bank has a newer program that's based on census tract data. So if you are purchasing your first home in a low to moderate income census tract, they're going to give you $7,500 down payment assistance and closing cost grant. Free money, get to keep it. Love free money. It's only available to first-time home buyers with credit scores above a 600. So nice program, but it has to be in low to moderate income areas, which, for example, if you're looking, excuse me, Wayne County, you'll look at the city. Redford will qualify for quite a few, all the way down, pop some Taylor, and then down river. So when you start getting over to Macomb County, East Point, Roseville, Warren, anything from 8 Mile all the way up to, I've actually had it go as far as 12 Mile on a case-by-case basis. So, so very, very generous areas. Oakland County, part of Ferndale, Hazel Park, some of Southfield will work as well too. So a lot of areas will cover for this First State Bank program. And then my number 1 program that I like to work with is actually through Flagstar Bank. It's called their Destination Home. Now, Destination Home has been around for, oh my gosh, I want to say 7 years I've been working with this program. I love it because it's quick. They can knock these out in 3 weeks. They don't give you any money, but you can buy with no money down. And what I really love about it is it's a conventional product. And what that means is conventional loans are typically reserved for people with grade A income, grade A assets, and grade A credit. So when we're writing an offer and sending it over to a seller, they have no idea that you're using a grant. They just say, hey, a zero down conventional loan, this buyer must walk on water. The other thing is there's no mortgage insurance on this program, and it only requires a 600 credit score. I've even got people done with no credit scores. We just have to create some alternative trade lines. The seller is actually allowed to pay up to 4% of your closing costs. So a lot of ways to get people into houses with very little money out of pocket. This program actually allows for premium pricing where the lender could actually pay a couple $1,000s of your closing costs on top of it. So an extremely flexible program. They have just lifted some restrictions. It was only in a low to moderate income area. Now, if you're buying in a low to moderate income area, there's no income restrictions. Anybody with a high income can buy in a low moderate to moderate area now in this program. The other side, if your income is lower, in other words, below the median income, there's no area restrictions. You can buy in any of the areas as long as it's an area where Flagstar Bank has a branch in the county. So for example, Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, Livingston, all those counties, Monroe, they all work well. For whatever reason, Flagstar doesn't have any branches up in Port Huron, so St. Clair County might not work. But go over Genesee, Lapeer, they all work. Okay, so great program from Flagstar. So those are my top 5. Why don't any questions out there? I'm gonna let's see. Kelly, any questions that you couldn't answer that I need to tackle before I jump into the rest of it? Okay, thanks, Kelly. Appreciate it. Okay, so next thing I want to discuss the bonus questions. Number 1, here are some of the programs that are available on a municipal level. Okay, there's a program called National Faith. They administer a lot of these down payment assistance programs for the municipalities that apply for grants and get them, but just don't have the staffing to administer it. So National Faith right now has 3 different programs, I believe, that are available. One is specific to Wayne County. Nope, wrong one. Business closure. You know what? Let me open a new screen here. This is not taking me where I want to be. Okay. So this is going to take us to the website, National Faith Home Buyers. Not that you need to memorize this, but this is where I go just to get a feel for what kind of money is still out there. So, okay. So right now, there is a Wayne County program that has $854,000 available. Somebody had mentioned Livonia. Livonia has $169,000. Livonia, for whatever reason, people don't take advantage of this. They were at $185,000 about 3 months ago, so they're dripping this money out, and they do it in $15,000 increments. So anybody that's looking in Livonia, boy, I would highly encourage you to do this as soon as possible. They've only got about 10 loans left on it, but like I said, it does not go quickly. Now, the Wayne County program, on the other hand, this one's down to $854,000. This program distributes the money in increments of about $14,000. Now, it's good for all of these areas, any for Allen Park, Belleville, you can see Garden City, Grosse Ile, Lincoln Park, covers Livonia too, Plymouth, Romulus, Southgate, Sumter, Northfield, Trenton, Wayne, Westland, Wyandotte, Woodhaven. So a lot of communities there. So a lot of communities where you can use that $14,000. The next one, Lincoln Park, looks like they just got some new funding. It wasn't that high last month. They're at $263,000. I'm not sure if Lincoln Park is at 7,500 or 10,000 for the money. Now, these programs are, even though they are called down payment assistance programs, most of them are forgivable. So you get to keep the money. So it's not like it has to be repaid at all. So I don't lead with these programs because what I don't want to do is get you and your family excited about making a move and then have one of these programs run out of money. I mean, we'll certainly gravitate to them first because it's free money, but if for any reason it's not there, I want to have a plan B for you. Okay. I don't know how you are, but the last thing I want to ever do is get my family excited about making a move and then having to pull the rug out. Very few things make me feel worse than something like that. So I like to make sure I do the same to other people. So looks like we got a few messages here. Got it. Yes, Trenton is on here. Southfield and Farmington. Southfield and Farmington would probably be more Mishta and possibly some of the down payment. Farmington Hills, I would say Mishta would probably be the best product right now. Now, if your credit scores are above a certain threshold, let's say your credit scores are above a 680 or so, there are Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac programs that are available depending upon where your income is and what area you're moving from. So there is a whole sleeve of products out there that are based on where you're moving from right now. But those are reserved for people with credit scores 680 or higher. So for example, right now I have a gentleman, looks like Irma, a person saying that they have a 720 score. Now, when we start getting scores in that level, we can start piggybacking things. So you could, in that case, qualify for more than one program. So that's how we were able to start stacking some of these other people. So let's say, for example, whoops, let me go back here. Let me go to my top 5 again. I apologize. I think I've got a very choppy internet connection tonight. That's why it's bouncing around. Let's see this one. Here's another example. All right, this is April. Now, April purchased this home. This is actually in the city on Philadelphia. It was a really incredibly well-kept home in the family for generations. But when you start getting credit scores above 680, it's very important that we start looking at lenders that have the ability to start stacking grants. And what I mean by that is this one for April, she qualified for $32,900. And the reason she did is we were able to get her a 3% gift grant. All right. That 3% is designed to pay for a down payment. So say it's a $100,000 house, 3%, that's $3,000. Down payment, check. An additional $5,500 grant to cover her closing costs. Actually, that was a $5,000 grant to cover her closing costs. Check. She got a $500 grant to cover her appraisal. Another check. And then we've polished it off with $25,000 grant from the city. That's what totaled up for her for about $32,000 or whatever the number is. So when your credit scores are that high, we can really start stacking stuff up and start adding to the equation. So here's a perfect example. I'm going to give you a feel for, let me go back to, I think it was in my intro, and I'm looking for Emily. Okay, good. So Emily she was nice enough to authorize me to share things. I'm not going to share her address or anything like that, but this gives you a feel of how it stacks up on a closing statement. So I'm going to zoom in here. Hopefully you can read that. You'll see that Emily got a $500 credit, appraisal credit. That's one grant. special purpose grant, 5,000. City of Detroit National Home Buyer, 24, and Flagstar gift grant, 3,000. This is what I mean by stacking some of these grants up. This is information that I can say with a high degree of confidence you will not find anywhere in the Detroit area or anywhere in the, I don't know anybody that's doing this type of stuff right now. But this is the type of benefit you get when you work with my team and I, because I'm going to connect you with the lenders that are going to stack these grants like this. So it really creates for such a great win-win. And this is really what drives a lot of traffic. This is why when I do these webinars, people are kind of surprised when, I get 400 people to sign up and 100, 500 people to show up. It's because I routinely do this for people, and I just love doing it, especially the doubters, the people that say that it can't be done. Oh my gosh, those are the people I want to personally work with. So just because it's like a challenge for me. So I know that sounds odd, but anyways, I enjoy it. Okay, let me get back to some of the bonus things. And thank you, Duan. I look forward to your call too. So all right, so the next thing on the bonuses, and so you get it. I tend to tap into every program that's out there, so I don't want to beat that sound that drum anymore. The next thing I want to make sure people are aware of, because this is something that is near and dear to my heart, because when I had to rebuild my credit, I didn't have any of the tools that are out there now. There are so many more tools to do it on such a quick level, a very predictable level. And I go over a lot of these tools in my webinar. So let me put this in the chat again. And this next one is going to be Saturday at 10 a.m. This is it's a free webinar. Show up. Oops, wrong one. Show up. Or I should say schedule, because this is 100% invitation only. I do not advertise this webinar because I just don't want to okay, let me hit the mute button there. And okay, let me get in here. Okay. Okay. Boy, nope, that's book a call. I'm terribly sorry. Here's the credit one. Okay. All right. So this is a link to my credit repair webinar, credit.nodownpaymentrequired.org. Or if you're going to get, you'll get some text afterwards. If you need access to it, please text us through the phone number that we've been communicating with for the webinars. Now, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to give you my cell phone number. Please understand that after these webinars, my phone just goes nuts for the next 3 or 4 days. I always return my text, but just the same, my voicemail can get filled up very quickly when I give this out. So please understand, this is my cell number, 248-252-7283. If you need this link, just text me. I'll be happy to do it. Now, if we have a phone call scheduled, okay, and you can't make it, just let me know and I'll try to call you, because I get it. I book calls all the time and life gets in the way of our plans. I'll do my best to work around it. So I get a lot of calls that I have to reschedule. So if you can't make a call, just let me know and I'll try to reschedule it, or just let me know what time will work. And if one of my calls aren't there, I'll call you as soon as I can. But eventually I will connect with you. Okay. When you say tax exemption, exempt from what? I guess I need a clarification on that. So Are you saying property tax exemptions? So, okay. So property taxes, are you talking about like homesteading rights, or whether how properties homesteaded, or are you talking about getting your property taxes waived because you might be a disabled veteran? Homestead. Do I have any information? So I guess I don't know what your, I mean, usually they're either a house is homesteaded or it's not homesteaded. So it's usually, that's information we can look on public records and see. But as far as whether most of the people that I work with, you're going to homestead the house when you purchase it. So I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for. Schedule a call with me. So it's kind of an odd question because it's just for the fact that I'm not sure in what way or what you're trying or what your question is, I guess, basically. So, so you have the link to my credit repair webinar. So please take advantage of that. I also shared with you my pick of the day a few moments ago, but I'll pull that up again. Again, this is one on Michael in Warren. We just reduced the price by $10,000 to $115,000. So, like I said, somebody could technically buy this one with about $1,200 out of pocket, and they could be in. So, any interest on that one, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I know the seller is out of state and he's looking for a quick sale on this one. That's why he priced it accordingly. All right. What other questions do we have here? Like to be on the credit repair webinar. Great. Thanks for sharing that, Kelly. Appreciate it. All right. Hey, we still have a lot of people online here, 82. So I'm sure you got to have some questions, guys. This is your chance. Fire away. I am here for the duration. The first step is to find out what area you're going to be looking in. Okay. So almost all of these grants are tied geographically. So whether you're looking in Detroit or whatever your municipality, so let me know where you're looking and then I can tell you where the grants are. Then there's different grants. So there's geographically tied grants, and then there are lender specific grants. There are a lot of lenders that are granted grant money from the federal government. Now, depending upon what your income level is, the area that you're buying in or where you're moving from and where your credit score is drives that conversation. So I find that most of those grants are available through mid-level banks. Okay, when I say mid-level, I'm saying regional banks, Flagstar Bank, Huntington Bank, Citizens Bank. These banks are all subject to Community Reinvestment Act money. So they've got to push this money to the streets. So it's in their best interest to try and dial you into as much grant money as possible based on where you're looking in your credit scores. And obviously your income needs to be below a certain threshold. So sometimes it's easiest if you take advantage of my phone call, okay? Book a call with me so we can learn your transaction and structure a go-forward plan for you, whether we need to work on credit or hone in on, all right, what lender is going to be the best? Okay, your credit scores are X, your income's Y, you've got X amount in your household, you're looking in this area. Okay, we want to go to Flagstar. We want to look for the gift program, the appraisal grant, the closing cost grant, and any other money that we can tack onto it. Okay, so once I know your situation, I can better coach you on that standpoint. But right now, in my personal opinion, Flagstar is probably the leader in that space. Keep in mind, okay, do not just blindly call a loan officer at Flagstar. Without fail, this happens once or twice a month. where I'll get somebody to go, okay, John, I just got approved at Flagstar. I'm ready to go. And then as we start to go, look, I find out that they're working with someone that I don't even know of. And that person's not helping them dial into all of the grants. I have no pull, no leverage. It's not a loan officer I work with. Okay. So if you are inclined to go to any of the lenders that I mentioned in my top 5, please reach out to me. I'm happy to make that introduction. Okay. And there are a lot of mortgage brokers out there that have some great products. Actually, I was just talking to a gentleman, Jalen, today. He's a mortgage broker, and he was telling me about one program that I just new to the marketplace, 3.5% down, very flexible on things. So don't have to pay it back. And I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be a very quick, painless process for people when they do that. So I'm actually looking very excited. I'm very excited to start to add his products to the mix as well, too. Okay. Lawrence is asking, is there any limitations on approval chances for funding, perhaps if you need capital or a business account with steady balance and aged, held, and positive? So unfortunately, business accounts don't do well. Approval chances for funding based for a business account. Oh, steady balance. So there are what they call no income verification loans or limited documentation loans, where they'll go off of balances based on what's being held in your business. So totally different animal. Those don't really play well with a lot of the down payment assistance programs, and certainly wouldn't qualify for any grants. Now, Lawrence, what I would recommend is please book a call with me and try to have your tax returns there. It's not too challenging for me to tell you where to go, how to look, and see what things that we can use on your income. Usually when I have this type of question, it's based on the fact that a lot of people, when you're self-employed, your accountant's job is to write off as much as possible. So it's not too challenging for me to coach you through what items can be added back from an income standpoint, so we can determine how much you could possibly qualify for. And this time of year is a perfect time to do it, because you're possibly structuring things for tax preparation next month. So not a bad time to have that conversation. So maybe you need to prepare 1 year in advance and maybe portray your tax returns in a little bit more favorable light in order to get approved for a loan a year down the road. So food for thought anyways. Curtis, what if I'm on disability and want to make an income? How do I apply for Section 8? Okay, well, first of all, Section 8 in most housing commissions is closed. So trying to get approved for Section 8 right now, I think is just a wasted effort. That's just my personal opinion. The current administration in Washington is cutting off funding. So thinking that there's going to be money to add people to Section 8 might be a little bit optimistic right now. If you are on disability income, I would suggest schedule a call for me. There are some programs where what I've done from a coaching standpoint is coach people to look at maybe buying a duplex. Okay. I had a lady last month, and actually somebody shared a nice duplex with me today that was 100% renovated. And what's nice is, let's just say your disability income is, let's say, $1,200 a month. More often than not, we can usually gross that up because it's not taxable. So we might give you credit for $1,500 a month, let's say. Let's say we can find you a duplex, and the duplex can rent each side out for $1,200. We can add that $1,200 income to your $1,500 income and give you a monthly income of $2,700. And we'll use that as your income to qualify for a house payment. In this case, this duplex was $150,000. which is about I think it's going to be a $1,250 payment on that, the one that I saw today. So that being the case, you could buy this house, this duplex, rent half of it out, and now the half that you're renting out is going to be making the house payment for you for eternity. Okay? It's hard. It's threading the needle, but it can be done. Don't do a lot of them, but probably a handful a year. So you're not the only one that's in the fixed income area. That's why I tell people fixed income, not impossible. And like anything, I'm going to tell you, I'm never going to be the guy that says no. I'm just going to tell you how we get it done, and I'll give you a realistic time frame and what the chances are. I mean, if it's a needle in a haystack, it's a needle in a haystack. But you know what? We get several needle in the haystacks a year, so you may be one of them. Okay, let's see. Bob Joe, what a duplex. Hey, there's a few. There's not many out there, but there's a few. There was one that down Dexter in Davidson area. Actually, a really nice one, 2,400 square feet, a 3-bedroom and a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, so upper and lower. So totally redone top to bottom. If that's an area you consider, either way, give me a call. Happy to try to put some on your radar. Rakeem, what about moving from Southgate area to Trenton with a 655 score? Is it possible to help with the down payment score? Yes, it is. So to give you a feel for it right now, not knowing where your income is, I would ask, do you have any family, any parents that own homes right now? If you don't, then that $25,000 would be a real easy way to do things. There's also the, if you're looking in South, to Trenton, I think Trenton actually will do the Wayne County program too, so that could be an option. So there are a few options out there, Rakeem. So please schedule a call with me, and happy to learn your situation, put myself in your shoes, and we'll take it from there. Let me put my link in here again. Oh, let me get away from that, everyone. And good. Okay. HP, is the Bank of America program a good program? Well, I like the Bank of America program. I just don't like dealing with Bank of America. Bank of America offers a lot of money. You can actually get $17,500 from Bank of America, and it's a good program. But I will tell you, by the time you're done going through the Bank of America meat grinder, you're not going to like anyone. So be happy to point you in the. Now that is definitely something you don't want to go into blind. I have a loan officer that's in the Detroit area that does a decent job. Okay, he's decent because he communicates. Okay, if you call Bank of America or just go to one of their branches, and they, a lot of times they try to connect you with a local loan officer first. But a lot of the local loan officers, if they find out you're doing this program, they may not be as attentive, and you don't want to get stuck in their Jacksonville office. That's their call center for mortgages, and it's like the abyss. It'll take. If you get it done in 2-3 months, you're lucky. Actually, you're lucky if you get it done at all. A lot of people throw in the towel after a while. It is just an absolute, it's almost barbaric how archaic their system is, requesting documents over and over again. I mean, I've had instances where I've sent documents in on behalf of the customer, and the customer sent them in. It's just that the customer sends them in so many times that they think that they're doing something wrong, and they weren't. It was just the way that the Bank of America system is. And it's just not a very user-friendly system, that's all. So good program, offers a lot of money. If your credit scores are that high, I would say do Flagstar instead of that. You'll probably get the same amount of money when you think about it. So, but like I said, at the end of the process, as upfront as I'm going to be and tell you about Bank of America, you're still not going to be happy with me because my name's going to be associated with the whole transaction. So I always I try to avoid them at all costs, but I get it. 15, if they're offering 17,500, I'll go through a lot of pain and aggravation for that kind of money. So I'll leave it at that. But there are a lot of places out there. So, but if you need an introduction to somebody at Bank of America, let me know. And if you have somebody at Bank of America that you already know, please send them my way. I'm always looking for someone on that front. I will tell you, they are tough on the credit scores. Okay. The surprise with Bank of America is they give a lot of money, but it doesn't go for your prepaids or reserves. So don't think that you're going to be getting in with $1,000 or $2,000 out of pocket. You've got to fund your own escrows, your own insurance. So even though they're going to give you $17,500, you still got to plan on having a good $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to get it across the finish line, because they don't allow for certain things to be paid with that money. All right. Could I please put my number in the chat box here? One more, 248-252-7283. All right. Okay, let's see. Curtis Wooden from John Wright. Hey, wow. Tell John Wright I said hello. Paige, sign up for the credit repair. Great, glad to hear it. FHA, 3.5% in Realtor. Realtor.com offers these financing options for possible 0% APR for your first 12 months. I'm curious because I'm working in the staff to study with hedge fund on properly applying. Interesting. You know what, Lauren, schedule a call with me. I'd be happy to take a deeper dive into this. It's just going to be so far over some heads that just might not be good use of our time right now, but please schedule a call with me. All right. Who is it that just chimed in with a question? Hey, Quintella, you're like one of the few people that are unmuted here. So you must be special. I like it. What's your question? Okay. Yes. So, all right. So, good question. Now, there's a couple things I like about that situation, a couple things I don't like about that situation. The things I do like about it is, number one, how long have you lived there? Okay, so you know all the baggage that goes along with the house. Do you like the house? Okay, good. The reason I ask is every now and then I'll get a landlord that's like arm twisting someone into buying a house, and I want to make sure you're not doing that. So, all right. So, yes, you can certainly tap into these down payment assistance programs and grants with these programs. It's just that you need to have somebody in your corner drafting things. These programs don't really work well on a for sale by owner basis, and some lenders won't do them. Okay, because they just think there's too many ways for shenanigans to go on, and the chance of them closing is quite small because they just don't have the seasoned eyeballs to help navigate things across the finish line. Not that it's rocket science. So typically what I tell people is schedule a call with me so I can learn your situation. We'll figure out what programs are going to be the best. And then I'll just reach out to your landlord and say, okay, this is how we're going to structure this. This is what we need to do to get it across the finish line and make sure everybody's happy. It's as corny as it sounds. We really want to just try to create as much of a win-win as we can. Okay. Every now and then I'll get a landlord that just has unreasonable expectations with regards to what the value of the house is. And keep in mind, whatever you think the value is and whatever the seller thinks the value is and whatever I think the value is doesn't matter. The bank's appraiser is the guy driving that bus. So, okay. So, but usually what we want to do is we want to pull some comparables. We want to know the answer to that question before we even ask it of the lender. Okay. So I'll typically tackle that issue with you and the seller beforehand. So, so I run into it quite a bit to answer your question. So please schedule a call with me so we can get that kicked off for you sooner than later. Okay. Especially rates have dropped quite a bit over the past 30 days. So good time to take advantage of it. Okay, if somebody saying they couldn't get in earlier, are you able to buy these properties for investment only? Answer is no. So if you don't own a house, there are some programs that are ideal for multifamily, a great way to kick off your portfolio. So if you are an aspiring wannabe investor, heck yeah, there's a great way to use these programs, but we can't go in and identify them as investment properties right out of the gate. Got it. Have you heard of the Rocket program? I mean, Rocket has several programs with the Fannie, Freddie stuff, but I'm not. They don't do the MSHDA stuff, or at least they didn't as of a month ago. They may have changed their tune a little bit now, and don't get me wrong, I like Quick Rocket a lot. They certainly do a lot for southeastern Michigan, but when it comes to some of the down payment assistance programs and grants, not always the strongest. And I understand they're a for-profit company. A lot of times people don't want to do the state program, MSHDA, because MSHDA dictates how much they can make. So, and the only reason a lot of these mid-level banks, regional banks, do these programs is they have to give back in order to comply with the Community Reinvestment Act. So they're forced to push this money to the streets. So, but hey, if you've got a good Rocket program, please schedule a call. Let me know about it. I'd love nothing more than to put Rocket on my screen for my next webinar and say that, hey, this is one of the top programs. I mean, you just heard me talk a moment ago about Bank of America. I mean, offers a lot of money, but a lot of headaches. I'm all about ease, simplicity, and the chance of closing. So, but like I said, I'll never be the guy that says, I know it. There's just way too many programs. These are just the programs in my small world in southeastern Michigan. Gosh, they're all over the country. So, not that familiar with it. So, give me a feel for what with what regards. Okay, so if you're referring to more like some of the credit counters that are starting to surface. Okay, so how is it reflected on your credit report? Does it show up as a credit relief? Okay, so yeah, so this is, and I'm not equating. I don't know if this is the same. I've heard of it. I don't know exactly what it is, but when times start to get a little bit tough, there are a lot of debt consolidation companies, debt relief companies, GreenPath. I mean, there are companies out there that say, hey, we'll take your debts, we'll talk to your creditors, we'll negotiate your balances down, and we'll pay them for you. Okay? I'm here to tell you they are wrong. Do not do them. Run. Okay? They are the biggest ripoffs out there. What they typically do, and I'm not saying the one you're in is, okay? I'm just trying to use this moment to coach some people because these companies, are starting to surface because things are teetering. Right now, 30-day default rates on credit cards just hit a 30-year high last month. Same for delinquencies on auto loans. So things are changing very quickly in our economy, and these companies surface and they prey on people. What they do is they say, call us, we'll negotiate for you, we'll make your payments. And then you end up sending your payments to these debt counseling companies. They take all of their fees up front and send pennies to the creditors. They do nothing but just tick off all the creditors. If you're at that stage, I always tell people you need to talk to a bankruptcy attorney, in my opinion. Why not? If that's the case, if things are, and I'm not suggesting you, I'm just saying if somebody's in that bad of a spot, heck, why not just go into bankruptcy? That way, at least you got the bankruptcy court protection. Because once you're in bankruptcy court, no one can call you or do anything. Try to get a chapter. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 26. Okay. I mean, it's a long road. So my thoughts are, and this is just because I've been through it myself. Okay. My bankruptcy with the businesses that I had that went down, I don't know if you heard me talk about that earlier, it was large. Okay. There was a ton of debt in that. So that being the case, it was, I look back, it was the best thing I've ever done. I got everything off my back and it gave me 2 years, and that 2 years flew by and I didn't have to repay it. Okay. So I'm a big fan of it if you need to do it. Okay. Now, if the bankruptcy court won't let you do it and they're going to push you into Chapter 7 reorganization, that's a different story. Chapter 7, or excuse me, Chapter 13 reorganization is a long, hard road. Okay. So, so if it's it sounds like you're pretty well into it. Sounds like you might have some management. Your payments are probably $100 a month or something like that, or a couple hundred a month to get through it. Okay. So, it sounds like you've got a plan, and it sounds like you're working the plan and you're on pace with it. But so that's why I said what I said earlier is for other people that are maybe not, yours is a more manageable situation. Sometimes I run into people that may have $20,000 in credit card debt, maybe a repossession for 20,000 because they co-signed a loan for someone and they're getting garnished. People like that, it's kind of like, you know what? Bankruptcy's there for a reason. Treat your personal life like a business and do it. And after you do it, call me right away. I'll help you build that credit back. You'll get credit. You'll get credit immediately. Within a couple of months, I can get someone's credit, a credit card, and get things rebuilt. So October, okay. So any idea where your credit score is right now? Okay, so we need to take a deeper dive and find out what's dragging those scores down, and possibly add a one or two credit building tools to get a quick spike in your score. Okay, so I would spend some time and go to my webinar on Saturday. Okay, there are a couple of credit building tools that I think you could find benefit with. Okay, good. Okay. Where are you in a trailer park? How much are they paying? How much are you paying? Which one? Is it the one on 8 Mile or 9 Mile? Oh, in Middle Belt? Okay. All right. So I mean, I've been all over the Detroit area. I know it inside and out. So how much do they charge for lot rent in there now? Okay. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Oh, okay. Right. Just a home inspection or, okay. Sure. Right. Yeah, it's tough. Unfortunately, the manufactured homes or mobile homes industry, it's been uh, it's been turned upside down over the past 5 years or so. A lot of those complexes were privately owned, as you know, and what happened was there are a couple publicly traded companies uh, that own these communities, and they came in and they offered astronomical amounts to a lot of these mom and pop owners, and they were sold. It's a common story all over Michigan right now. So once they sold it, they started jacking up the lot rents. They started really, excuse the expression, but screwing people on water. I mean, people are paying $100 a month in a manufactured home like yours, and that's the equivalent of like a 5,000 square foot house. There's no way people use that much water, so they're just gouging on every way they possibly can. So I'm not a fan when because right now you're almost getting bullied into signing something, and unfor- unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do. Well, we're scheduled. Right. Well, I mean, 623 in Farmington Hills. I mean, it's hard to find anything like that. So they kind of they kind of have you by the short hairs if you want to stay in Farmington Hills. That's for sure. But schedule a call with me, please, and then I can learn your situation, and we'll see if we can maybe put you into something else. The payment's going to go up. I mean, I'll tell you, but I have a sneaking suspicion you know that. But we might be able to get you into a home where it's a little bit more predictable situation, because what happens is once you buy the unit, that's fine. Now you're still subject to whatever lot increases they do, and they will continue to increase the lots. Right now, I'm seeing lot rents up to 750 a month just to rent the darn lot. Mhm. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. But schedule a call. We'll see what we can do to get you into something. Okay. You're welcome. Have a good night. Thanks for coming. Okay. Going back here, shows up often. Oh boy, I've got. Okay, Lawrence, schedule call anytime. HP shows up often. Charge off account or closed. Absolutely true. Okay. Um, Oh, okay, that was on the conversation. So, all right, so if your accounts are showing up as a charge off, so we need to start rebuilding some credit. Uh, so please attend my webinar. Uh, so Bob Joe, Lexington Law is a ripoff. Don't use them. I agree. That's just like last. I mean, they have a purpose, but if your scores are above a 520, you don't need to go that route. Okay, there are other ways to get things done, and unfortunately, that's like they just give you one path. In my opinion, in addition to maybe questioning and challenging some of the old late payments, you need to build new credit at the same time. That's where you get the biggest lift in the shortest period of time. You are quite welcome. Thank you for attending. How does bankruptcy affect your home purchase? So if you are in a Chapter 7, you cannot purchase a home typically till 2 years after the discharge date. Now, if you have a sizable down payment, some of them will do 1 year. There are some companies that are doing people right out of bankruptcy with an even larger down payment, but that's more an exception than the rule. Now, if you do a Chapter 13, which is reorganization, you can usually buy a house after 1 year of making timely payments to your trustee. So there are some options. Just need to know what your situation is so I can better coach you. So thanks for the question, Keith. Yes. Bobby Joe says you will never fully own a home if you live in a park. He is absolutely right. Too many rules now. It's tough. Those are one of the biggest real estate traps that I see out there, because most of those manufactured homes depreciate. They don't typically go up in value. Now, the past couple years, people have done well on them, but that's because of such a housing shortage. But overall, I never look at them as a wise investment or a gateway to build wealth. This has been very informative. Look forward to calling. Thank you so much. Try to attend the credit repair. Got it. 536. Hey, Bob Joe, attend the webinar. Happy to work with you there. Hey, John. Reverend Hardaway. Hey, haven't talked to you in a while. Hope all is well. I'm interested in that home you showed in Warren earlier. We have a call scheduled for 6 p.m. tomorrow. Great. Look forward to it. Went from 0 credit score to 536 in a few months. Awesome. Let's give me a call. I'd be happy to see what we could do to get another quick spike there. Just want to know what kind of tools are working for you as well, too. Oh, that's another thing. If you get a good credit building tool, please share it with me so I can pay it forward and give that to other people, too. I think I've got a good toolbox of tools for credit building, but there's always new ones coming up every day. This has been great. I don't have parents, so getting all this information is vital. Cassandra, glad to hear it. Is your webinar free for Saturdays? Yes, it is free. So, gosh, maybe I'm starting to think maybe I should be charging for this, Kelly. Great webinar. Thank you, Kim. Kim Oakland. Oh, my gosh. How on earth are you? Are you still hanging on here tonight? How's the new house? Got a prepaid. Wish I got a prepaid card. Is all it took. You know what? There's another one. There's another credit building tool that I would love to share with you. It's a secured loan. So, anyways, it could possibly increase your scores another 50, 60 points in a relatively short period of time. Okay, I've got to ask to unmute this person. Kim, are you going to be bashful or will you talk? Kim, are you there? Yes. Hey, what are you even doing on this webinar? Kim bought a house a couple of months ago. So it needed a fair amount of work. How are you putting your boys to work? Good. Not at all. I appreciate the kind words. I have to say, my biggest mistake sometimes, Kim, is when I bring my wife to work and she met you, because she was constantly hounding me. Has Kim found a house yet? Has Kim found a house yet? So I'm blessed that way, that's for sure. So, well, I'm glad you're doing. How's your health? Your back's hanging in there? Recovering well? Okay, good. All right. Well, I'm so glad. So thank you for speaking up tonight. I really do appreciate it. And gosh, I hope our paths cross. again soon. And by the way, can I be so forward as to invite myself to some type of housewarming party this spring? All right. I'd love to. I'm always good for that. Food? Excellent. So, all right. Well, best to you and the family, Kim. Take care. Okay. Bye. Okay. Let's see. Next question here. Does qualifying does qualifying for a VA loan exempt a person from this program? Good question. Now, do you currently, if you currently own a home, you, and it's through VA, I mean, we're not going to qualify for a lot of these programs because you're already own a home. Now, if you are looking to possibly be what might be a long-term investor, you could possibly not use your VA eligibility, purchase a home with some of these down payment assistance programs and grants, and then save that VA eligibility to buy other homes down the road. Okay, so there's a process that you can use to build a network if you're looking to build a portfolio of homes. Okay, so for that, I would suggest scheduling a call with me so we can map that out for you, because it's kind of a delicate subject. So hope that answers your question, iPhone. Praise God. Yes, of course. Cassandra, I use Self Credit. It's an app. They give me a credit builder loan. Also did the same thing with Kick. You know what? I've heard good things about. Self has been out there for a while. Kick is doing quite well. Oh, here, Kick's worked for Bob Joe. So yeah, so I appreciate that. So these credit building tools were not out there for me several years ago when I was rebuilding. So there are a couple of other things that I would recommend. Number one, you want to try to get either a secured credit card, Capital One. You give them $300, they're going to send you a credit card with a $300 limit. Okay, that's one. The other one is a secured loan, and I do that one through Michigan First Credit Union. I love those two things because if you add those to yourself and your Kick, you're going to have 4 different types of credit. And part of what goes into your credit score is credit diversity. Okay, and you'll get a bit of a lift from that. The other thing is the secured loan that I talk about in my credit restoration webinar on Saturday with Michigan First Credit Union. Right now, I'd be shocked if after 60, 90 days, your scores don't go up 50, 60 points just from that one tool, which I go over in detail. Okay. Good. I'm glad Kick is working well for people. Oh, there you go. So Bob Joe just mentioned Capital One. Don't own a home. It's my husband's VA. Oh, yeah. So if you've got something in your husband's name and you don't have anything in your name, by all means, you can do something in your name. Cassandra, Michigan First Credit Union's got it. Yes, they do. And you want to, when you're going there, it's called their secure. You know what? We don't have too many people left here. Let me show you what it is, and I'll give you a feel for it, because I have used this credit builder tool myself. Not for myself, but I actually used it for my daughter a couple of years ago, and it was just, and it's just because I was having so many people say such good, positive things about it that I wanted to do it for her when she turned 18 to give her a credit score, and it's paid dividends for her. But Michigan First Credit Union. Okay. Now, what this is, it's a secured loan. It's a credit building tool. So you give them $525. They will, must have logged me into my account there. I don't want that. Let's try this. Actually, you can see that's where I have my accounts. Just just because of all the tools that they have and how much they help people, I tend to do my banking there too. Okay, let's go to the website. Okay, if you look under personal, boy, borrow, and okay, lines of credit, personal loans. Hmm. Well, they've changed their website a little bit. It's not here any longer, but they do have it. It's called a secured loan. And what you do is you go in and you open an account with Michigan First Credit Union. You're going to give them $525 to do this. They charge 25, so the $25 is gone. They take the 500 that you give them and they put it in your savings account and lock it down so you can't touch it. It's going to show that you have it. It's just you can't withdraw it. Then they're going to give you a loan. So they're going to put $500 in your checking account. So total, it's going to look like you got two accounts totaling $1,000. But like I said, you can only touch the checking account money. And then what happens is you pay that $500 loan off over 6 months. So 80 something dollars a month is going to come out of your checking account to pay that loan off. The key to this program is it takes about 60 days for it to hit your credit reports and really start giving you the benefit. But when Michigan First reports it, it reports it as a line of credit on your credit report. It says secured line of credit, but it shows the line of credit. And lines of credit are one of the hardest things to get. It's much harder than a credit card. So your scores will typically go up anywhere between 40 to 60 points over 60 to 90 days. Okay. Great, great tool. So, and it only costs you $25 to do it. So why wouldn't you? Milton, I use Self and Kickoff also. My credit score looking great. Have a few other things, but my life is still thin. I like that. I'm gonna borrow that, Milton. The older I get, I just wanna hang thin. I don't need a lot of baggage. I'm a simple man. So what are the next question? What are the areas in Metro Detroit where I can purchase a home on this program? So I'm not sure exactly which program, since Lady Carlene, do you remember which program you were leaning towards? I can tell you that thanks. I don't know if that's good or not. I guess it's late, so I'm kind of getting robotic, so I apologize for that, but that's funny. So Paige says I'm sounding like a robot. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry you couldn't get in. Now, could you not get in because there weren't enough seats available, or? Got okay. No, I appreciate you sharing that because I noticed my account only goes up to 100, and then I usually have to pay to lift it above 100, and I didn't do it this time, and I noticed that we hit up to like 98 or so. But anyways, I'll go through these real quick for you. So the state program is available throughout the whole state of Michigan. Rural development is only in rural areas. The other program is available throughout the state of Michigan. That's a 3.5% down program. Number two is only in low to moderate income areas, so that's somewhat limited. And the number one program, actually, that's available in a lot of areas right now. What area are you thinking of moving to? Oh, okay. Okay. So we'll schedule a call with me and let's pin those areas down a little bit. And then I can learn your situation and then tell you what I would do if I were in your shoes, if that makes any sense. Okay. I'm going to add my uh, link to the chat room again so you can schedule a call right there. Now, were you were Paige, correct? Nope. Okay, got it. Okay, no, all right, good. Okay, the length, yeah, yes, book. That's for booking a phone call. So click that link and you'll get right to my calendar. Okay, you're welcome. Oh, what if you click that link, it's going to tell you what times are available on my calendar. Okay, and then just schedule a time and I'll call you at that time. Good. I look forward to it. You're welcome. Have a good evening. Thanks for attending tonight. Okay. All right. And okay, looks like Paige is at work right now. Mike is muted. Okay, well, I apologize, Paige, because I think my internet, for some reason, is kind of choppy this evening. So I know that can be a little frustrating. So if you like, or if anybody wants a replay, please go ahead and text me, and we'll get that off to you tomorrow morning. Okay. All right. Any other questions out there? Okay. A lot of great questions this evening. I appreciate everybody hanging on as long as they have, and the level of engagement. That's it's very few things keep me going is answering these questions, and we had some great questions tonight. So, but sometimes I realize that people want a more private forum. So please book that call with me. Um, Yes, actually, Kalamazoo is what I consider an underserved community. Almost all of these programs are available in Kalamazoo. Yeah. So, yeah. So if you could do me a favor, schedule a call and just pick a few addresses in Kalamazoo. And that way, because if I have the address of a house, I can pinpoint exactly what programs will and won't work. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Good. I'll look forward to it then. And you're Myron, right? Okay. Hey, thanks for attending tonight, Myron. It's been a pleasure. Okay. Paige, how would I know if I qualify for programs in Detroit? Lots of programs in Detroit, Paige. Just schedule a call with me. I'll learn your situation. I mean, there's no shortage of money that or programs that we can find in the city, unless you're in some of the high rent areas, University District, Rosedale Park, Grandmont subdivisions, English Village. Those and right in central downtown, midtown, those become a little bit more challenging. So, but Sherwood Forest, if you stay outside those high rent areas, there's a lot of money in play. Okay. So schedule a time with me, and I'm happy to learn your situation and point you in the right direction there. Paige, wow, thank you so much, Paige. You just made my evening there. What about Highland Park? Highland Park is such a great up and coming area. So a lot of money available in Highland Park too. So I don't have to tell you Highland Park brings its own set of challenges. So schedule a call. Always happy to learn your situation, and we'll make sure you get tapped into as much money as possible that's available for Highland Park. Stay clear of Rosemont and Joy Road area. It's Joy Road can be a little challenging sometimes, but every area. Hey, I'm a guy. I grew up at Losser and Finkel. Okay, so Brightmore. So you know, Rosemont, not bad. So, all right. Well, yeah. So don't know if I agree with that, all of that. So, but yeah, Brightmoor. There's exceptions everywhere, I guess. So, but anyways, any other questions out there? Somewhere safe. Well, that's everything. It's all relative. And Cassandra, as you mentioned that, just to give you a feel for how my team and I roll, um, a lot of areas that we help people with, we're looking at the block just as much as the house. Okay. So I always tell people, if you know the city, you're buying the block as much as you're buying the house. So we keep that clearly in mind. So somewhere safe, that's really what anybody wants. They want to be able to sleep at night. Um, hey, iPhone lady, she worked in Brightmoor, enough said. There's not too many businesses left in Brightmoor. Scotty's Fish and Chips is still there. I was there a couple of weeks ago. Love that place. Please don't tell my wife I went there. She doesn't think I eat like that. Um, I lived there for a year. It was nothing. Okay, got it. Hamtramck. Hamtramck's another area. Hamtramck is, as you probably know, a city within the city. So there are quite a few programs that will qualify in Hamtramck, and Hamtramck's actually an underserved community. So Hamtramck is actually one of those more desirable areas with a lot of the hipster crowds. So anyways, so I like Hamtramck a lot. So anyways, any other questions out there regarding real estate? As we are now approaching getting close to 9 o'clock, so I'm getting ready to time out here. Okay. Thank you so much, Derek. I appreciate it. So thanks for attending this evening. Look forward to your call. Okay. Well, I'm going to call it now. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for attending. Thank you for all your questions, and hope our paths cross real soon. Have a good night, everyone. Goodbye. Hey, yeah, it was. I was kind of, it's like, hey, when people start talking about gunshots in here and there, I got to bail on this. It's like, seriously, it's like, whatever. So the area, Rosemont area she was talking about isn't that bad. Suck it up. So, anyways, so I don't know, it was a little uncomfortable, slow getting started, but that's just because I've never bared my soul with regards to all my business calamities. So I don't know if that helps resonate with people or not. I noticed we had a better level of engagement. So, okay. Oh,